Hey guys, it's RodimusPrimal. I am back with another video, and today I'm finally getting around to reviewing the Transformers Legacy United Origins Wheeljack. This is a figure that I have asked for a long time, back when Siege had first started, and I was wondering when we're going to get a Cybertronian mode for Wheeljack, and we finally got it. And I ended up getting Bumblebee, I ended up getting Jazz, and now they're currently in a 3-pack that you can actually purchase now as well. But seeing, of course, that he does have his alternate mode there, and this is back, obviously, like, they're still doing the open windows, for Legacy United, as they're starting to do something different for Age of the Primes. But you've got Wheeljack's head there, and I'm going to show him next to, of course, his different counterparts that we have, as well as, which includes the Earthrise figure. But I'm going to get this guy out of the box and take a look at him. So without further ado, let's sit back, relax, make sure you're subscribed to the channel, and let's transform and roll out. Consider supporting the channel on Patreon, becoming a channel member, or purchase a merch. Links are in the description below. Alright, so here is Origins Wheeljack out of the box, and you can see he is a really good representation of G1 Wheeljack from the first 7 minutes of the cartoon, and it's designed to be pretty much that classic robot mode that you're familiar with if you are familiar with the original figure or the original character. So, having all of the things that you would expect, like ankle articulation, thigh articulation, and moving his arms all the way around. He even has wrist articulation, which is great, because not every figure today, like, I'm starting to notice, like, a lot less figures are having wrist articulation, which is kind of weird, but that's all right. But if you get a good look at his head sculpt here, you can see, let's see if I can get that to focus a little bit, but you can kind of see that the head sculpt itself is really well designed, gives off that cartoon accurate head sculpt really nicely. And he even has the wings built in, because when you look at, like, other versions of Wheeljack, either they're separate pieces or they're done a different way. But in order to actually get all of the transformation for his vehicle mode, they had to do a lot of kibble. And that's the thing that a lot of people are looking at and going, he's a mess, he looks a little weird. And it's like, guys, this is how they were able to bring us what we asked for. We wanted a Wheeljack in his Cybertronian mode to transform, into that and give us a good looking robot mode. And I think they did a really good job out of that. Now, he comes with a couple of different accessories. He has his standard blaster here, which, you can, of course, put in his hand, but it does have a place on his shoulder, which is the normal place that you would see Wheeljack have his cannon, is usually on his shoulder. And then he also has these two little extra, buzzsaw things. They're designed to be like a cross between the buzzsaws that he uses, but also the Dominator discs in the episode The Core. So when they do the Studio Series 86 Constructicons, you could probably put these, like, on different places on those Constructicons. And he does have two different places that he can store them. Either they can be on the pegs here on the back, or there are pegs here for storage, which works well for robot mode because it keeps them out of the way. And I think that's a pretty good spot for them, because in robot mode, having them on the arms kind of, they can fall off pretty easily. He also comes with this clear plastic, like, it's designed to be like a roadway for him to ride on. It's kind of like how they did the speeder in the first Star Wars movie, how Luke's speeder was, like, needed something to make it look like it was actually floating. And that's what this is designed to do, to make it look like the vehicle is, gliding on air. But the thing is that you can also do is you can fold it this way in order to remove the pieces, and you can swap it around so that it gives off almost like wings for him. But this is actually, I think we'll go this way. So let's do it this way, and we go like so. And the idea behind this is that it kind of gives him like extra wings, but in vehicle mode it's designed to be the shield that he uses in the episode. So if you actually watch the first 7 minutes of the original cartoon, you'll notice that he has like this, you know, blast shield that shows up in order to avoid getting fired on. But he does have like 2 little tabs there on his back to be able to, you know, wear it like a weird backpack. And it does kind of look a little weird. Like, this is where, you know, I get it. They were trying to make some functionality out of the little, you know, plastic thing that they were adding in. And it is a nice little bonus. So, in the first episode, if you watch the original cartoon, Wheeljack is the first character to appear when they finally start getting into the story. And
there's not enough energy in these conductors to last the vortex.
You know, he helps Bumblebee, which I'll show off here, Origins Bumblebee next to him, with these energy pylons that Origins Bumblebee comes with. So the actual pylons themselves, they're not enough energy here to last a Cortex, and they do have some storage here on this spot right here, so he can, you know, wear them. It gives a nice place for them for when they are both in robot mode, and I think that's kind of cool as well. And just moving him back a little bit, I'm going to move him there so that you can see him next to his other Origins figure, which is Jazz. Now, these are the initial releases of these figures, but they are releasing, like Takara Tomy themselves are releasing this in a premium set, you know, all 3 of them together. And I think they're getting a little bit of extra paint job, you know, paint deco to them. So it is kind of neat that they are doing that. Still, you know, finally having an Origins Wheeljack was something that I've wanted for a long time, especially when Siege first started, because, you know, when Siege first started, the first figure that we got, like we had, was, you know, Earthrise Wheeljack here. And yes, I know I've customized him, so he does have the Go Better kit, which is why he has the wings, which is why he has the blaster on his shoulder, and of course the Toy Hacks labels. I'm only mentioning that because I'm mentioning how the differences are. And you can also notice the difference in the head sculpts between the two is where you can actually see the differences between this Wheeljack and the other one. It kind of makes me wish that I would get a second one just to change out the head for this. And in the same way, maybe do so for Origins Bumblebee and something like Studio Series 86 Bumblebee. There goes my, you know, Wheeljack figure there. Now, of course, just for a little bit of comparisons, there's Jazz and Jazz. We'll just get them all lined up like so. So you can kind of see all 3 figures from their Earth modes to their Cybertronian modes. And yes, I know I have Bumblebee swapped up, but that's all right. You know, just so you can kind of see the differences between them. Even though all 3 figures represent, you know, all 6 figures represent the 3 characters, you know, the differences are very, very noticeable. But that's because, of course, it is their Cybertronian mode. And another size comparison here, he is next to the Netflix Hotlink figure. And I wanted to show off this difference because, you know, Hotlink was the leader of the welcoming committee that attacked Wheeljack in the original episode and was the one who shot fire. So that is who this particular character is and why it's worth having this figure.
And you didn't believe him? I do now.
Now moving on to transformation, of course, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take off his blaster here. And what it says to do, we're going to open up the forearms there. We're going to turn the fist so that it can fold in like so, and then you can close it and do the same thing on the other side. And it's kind of following the transformation that you actually saw in the cartoon. So what you want to do is you want to undo this piece here so it kind of gets out of the way. You can fold the wings down so that the arms can go where they need to. And then the wrist is going to need to turn all the way around. That's also part of the transformation. and we're going to turn the head around. From here, we move the whole chest assembly down so that it could go into this peg. There actually is a peg right here that goes into that slot. And then, if you remember the cartoon, which I'm just going to show the transformation really quickly.
Oh, hey, let's get back to Iacon.
Load up!
So from here, we're going to rotate the arm around, and it's going to kind of go into this slot like over here. We're going to do the same thing and move the slot over like so. And then we're going to move this together, and this forms the front bumper. And then the crazy thing about this transformation is like it's very much turning this, all of the panels into the vehicle mode. So we're going to move this in like so. You can kind of see the slots right here, and it goes into, I found it difficult to transform this part of him. It was like getting it to fit in, and because of the way that the two forearms go into it, and then you have to like get this lined up just right. And I found this part in particular probably one of the more difficult parts of the transformation, other than the legs themselves being a big fold-out piece. So that is where that folds in. And then from here, what we're going to do is we're going to fold this out on both sides. Panels move out of the way. And you'll notice here that the panels fold out like so. And do the same thing on this side. And on the back is where this part will fold out, which will allow me to fold this way. And by doing so this on both sides, it kind of gives you kind of a good idea of where all the parts are going, because it's a bunch of panels moving all over the place. Forgot to take those two pieces off of the back, so I'm going to do that now. Then we're going to rotate the fists all the way around. I mean the fists, not the feet, of course. And this will fold out there, and the feet will go in like so. When you rotate the feet, that's how like these like tabs will get out of the way. And then what we'll do is we'll open this up. This will rotate all the way around. And before you move everything into place, you have to separate the legs here and here. And I'll get one side. So you can kind of see what I'm doing is like, I'm trying to make it all happen like simultaneously one side to the other, because, it kind of makes you realize like where all the parts go. And it folds in like so. This part here, move you out of the way. It goes in there. Now, I know I've seen some people that they put this together like this, but I like to do that after I've gotten the rest of the parts where they need to go, like so. And it makes it easier to, like once you get this piece in like that on both sides, then it becomes easier to combine this part by moving that around. And pretty much we're right there. And what needs to happen next is that this whole piece will come down. Now, I am leaving this open on purpose because normally you would fold this up for the door, but the way that this particular vehicle mode does things, and you'll see kind of like if it's not lined up just right, it's kind of like off center. But also because this is a ramp for Bumblebee in vehicle mode, or for the energy pylons, you can put them inside, just like how Bumblebee did so, but they don't really have a neat place for them to go, which is why, you'd put them over here. Now, I am going to open this up, close this over so you can kind of see the full vehicle mode now that it's fully transformed, to get Wheeljack in his vehicle mode. And I really, really dig it. I do. This is the reason we asked for this, was this vehicle mode for a Wheeljack that transforms into a Cybertronian box. Why? Well, because he did it in the cartoon. That was his Cybertronian vehicle mode. And when the Decepticons actually came to attack him, this is where the blast shield came in, right? So they were shooting at him, and then Bumblebee came out the back because he was on the inside of him. And then he said, mind if I cut in? And that's where these go. And that's where you get him going right through the Decepticons. So I'm just going to move these out of the way. So when he rammed, the Decepticons, that's how he was able to do so. And I gotta say, it looks awesome. It really, really does. You know, and also, of course, like I said, the whole idea behind this vehicle mode is so that you can utilize it as like a, if you swap them around, it goes this way, like so, and like so, you can get that like he's gliding along a roadway, and that's kind of the idea behind it. And it is a cool little extra feature if you choose to use it that way. And if you're wondering about weapon storage, yes, he can put the blaster up there on the top, so he can fire on Decepticons, which is not something he did in the cartoon, but it's a thing you can do. So one crucial step that I missed during the transformation was this front panel for his chest does flip out like so, and flips out like this to deliver a much more solid piece, because, yeah, that was just something that I noticeably missed as I was, messing with it, and it does sit on the gliding platform much easier and much smoother. So, just going to make mention of that now. But, moving on to size comparisons, we're going to compare him next to his Earthrise counterpart, so you can see that when he left on Cybertron, this is what he transformed into, and when he came to Earth, this is what he transformed into. An Italian sports car. That's right. An Italian sports car, which lends to his Brooklyn accent, which is exactly why he is who he is. Plus, it's kind of like Chris Latta gave him this construction man's, engineer-like voice, which is great to think about because this sports car was known for breaking down the Lancia Stratos. And so that is kind of why him being even named Wheeljack, he's actually trying to repair this car and it blows up in his face just like the actual car does. It's a play on a lot of different words, and the Italianness of him is just one of those things that I absolutely adore about Generation 1 Wheeljack. The next size comparison we'll take a look at is Origins Jazz, so you can see him next. And we know that Jazz came in after. It's like, so Wheeljack and Bumblebee came back to Iacon, and that's when Jazz actually shows up. But here he is next to Origins Bumblebee. And we know that the Decepticons began their chase after both of them. And so let's get in a size comparison here with one of the Earthrise Seekers, which my flight stand is having a hard time holding up the weight of Hotlink there, but just so you can see the two of them, getting chased down by a Decepticon. But when Bumblebee got injured, and the whole play feature, why everybody wanted this toy to have this feature, was because in the cartoon, this opens up like a ramp, and Bumblebee, when he gets blasted, can, flip these panels up like so, because it will not fit in, the width of that won't make any clearance for it. So we're going to flip those up like so, put them in, and we're going to slide Bumblebee in, and you'll notice that there is a slot for him to fit, which is perfect. And then this will close up like so, and then this will close. I have to make mention of this right now is that it does close a lot easier after you put this panel in, because this will line up a lot better. So those of you who want to make mention of that in my comments, yeah, I know I made the mistake, but even so, I really, really dig this Wheeljack figure, and I think that it's definitely worth it, whether you just get him as a standalone, if you don't already have Origins Bumblebee, or if you want to get the Takara 3-pack. I'm going to leave some links in the description for you to be able to get them if they're still available by the time that you watch this video. But I wonder what you guys think of Origins Wheeljack. Are you excited about this figure? Did you really enjoy it? Or, were you more interested in something that is more along the lines of his Earth mode? Of course, leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. Be sure to thumbs up this video and subscribe. I have many more Transformers videos like this coming soon, so stay tuned for all of that. And as always, guys, until next time, till all are one.